Welcome back to the Diary of a CTO. My guest today is Carlos Andrioli, Head of Engineering for Liberis. Carlos, how you doing, mate?
I'm doing great. How about you, man?
I'm good, really good, really good. Just got back off a little cheeky week in Kos in Greece, which was very nice. Weather was a bit hit and miss, so not ideal. But yeah, a little bit of holiday blues this week, I'm not going to lie. But
You are doing way better holidays than I'm doing right now. I was 2 weeks ago on the Isles of Wight.
Oh, yeah, Olive White's nice.
Yeah, it's very nice, but
Yeah.
it's not Greece and it's not Italy.
It's not Greece. No,
Yeah.
fair enough. Yeah, I'll give you that one. Cool. Well, look, really good to have you here today, mate. You are, well, obviously I'll allow you to introduce yourself in a moment, but I'll pick you up a little bit to start off. A seasoned technology leader, you're a founder, an AI strategist, nearly 20 years in the industry, building high performance software as a hands-on engineer and a leader. So huge amount of value to bring to the conversation today. And just really keen to pick your brains and see what's inside. So
Let's stop it. This is a date now?
it's always with you and me. So look, let's start at the beginning. Give us a bit of an overview of, how'd you get into tech, and talk us through your career journey to date, if you would be so kind.
I think that this question specifically is I could say something spectacular, but it came since I was a kid. I was always keen to computers since I was, I don't know, 12, 13, and I got my first computer.
What was it? It's the obligatory question. What was your first PC?
It was DX2 386 Intel. I don't remember exactly, but I do remember that I had a hard drive of 40 megabytes.
Okay.
Which was
40 meg. That's mental, isn't it?
I was bragging about it. But since early, I always loved computers, and it just made sense to me. And then I remember going to high school in Brazil, where I'm originally from. And then I didn't went to normal high school. I went already to technical high school, where I learned to programming since the first years, for the next 3 years. And I went to college also to computer science right after. So it was quite experience. So it's just I think I was lucky enough to know what I would like to do since I started, and I didn't have to figure out.
It's nice. That's nice, isn't it?
But then I spent I think the first 12 years of my career works in consulting in Brazil, which is very common because the currency in Brazil helps other countries to ask for consultants in Brazil in general, so you can get very high quality people to work for very low prices in general.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of consulting companies, and you have a lot of bankings. Today, Brazil is the first country with the best technology banks in the world. Mostly because we have good technology people over there, and because we have a lot of frauds over there, so we have to be more careful about how things happens over there in general. To have one of the biggest fintechs of the world fintechs of the world today, they're Nubank.
Yeah.
Which became quite famous in not only Brazil but Latin America, and they expanding the business everywhere. And this comes also with how they disrupt the market in Brazil after, which was very much dominated for 4 major banks. And when you had something like Nubank that came started revolutionizing, creating a lot of new banks over there using technology that we already have there.
Right.
So first 10 years I spent as consultant mostly. So usually working for consulting banks, big companies, and projects companies like Whirlpool, and then I think I always have the curiosity of living abroad and try something abroad. And I remember in 2019 I had the opportunity to move to Quebec in Canada.
Cool.
So the French part of Canada. And I remember I learned French in 6 months to be able to do that. Learn French is in 6 months is a very overstatement. It's a very big overstatement. I would say that I memorized a lot of things in French.
Yeah.
I remember that I rehearsed the whole interview, the possibility of questions and everything, to be able to pass the interview.
Fair play. That's still a mean feat.
Yes. Well, I knew the technology. I just didn't know the language,
Mm.
And I thought I was having very good French until I got to Canada. It was super interesting, because the first moment that I got over there and I heard a Quebecois speak French to me, I said yeah, I'm sorry, I'm fucked right now.
Presumably, they like speaking Portuguese must have helped a little bit. There must be a few roots in there.
After a while, yes, because your ears get used to the language, you know, and then like it's also a Latin language in general.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you start getting like a lot of similarities, and I had like a base in Spanish also before like Brazil. So, and you have like a lot of mix of words, like combinations of like two languages always get like one of the language of like the specifically the Iberic area of Europe. So if you have like Portuguese and Spanish, you get like a little bit of like Italian, and you get like a little bit of French, and you get words from each other, and then like you can start working around this.
Yeah.
In Portuguese, you say like in Brazil, we say that we don't speak Spanish, we speak Portuñol. Because like we go to Argentina and we speak like a little bit of words with like an accent, and you say you speak Spanish, but like you definitely not speak Spanish.
Yeah.
But the idea is like you figure out. But basically, like the idea was, I prepared and I passed like to this company, which was a software excavation company in Canada, and like providing service to US, where like, for example, if you want to build a pool in your house, you have to map the area on the app that we used to do it on the web. And then like we're going to verify if you have like pipes, fiber, anything around it, if you can notify the companies to see what can be done, if they can move, how this like approval can go over. So I got like a job, and I got an experience where I lived like 1.5 years in Canada, and it was like an insane, amazing experience. Like I end up speaking French properly. Well, I call French Canadian properly. But that was my first experience, and after that, like I'm a very curious person. I never stopped. So I remember I got back to Brazil, and I stayed in Brazil like for around like 1 more year, like working for a North American company called Red Ventures, where I helped them build the operation in Brazil, and we are working like like developing some ventures in Brazil. But then because of this company and the network that I did, I had an opportunity like to move to a company in Chicago, where I lived almost 2 years. So, like I was working as director of engineering for a very small consultancy. They are working for Blue Cross and Blue Shield.
Okay.
Where we help them to develop like some no emergency transportation transport, like in US specifically. You don't have like universal healthcare like you have here in UK, or you have like in Brazil. Like everything is private. So in US, if you request, for example, an ambulance, you're gonna pay for it, or your insurance is gonna pay for it, and it costs between $2,000 to $5,000 every time they leave the headquarters, and that's it. Someone has to pay for it.
Yeah.
So I remember we developed a system for Blue Cross and Blue Shield, where for those cases we start sending that's the no emergency, like usually like you cannot go by yourself, but you have like to go for examination or something like this. Instead of calling an ambulance, we start calling a Uber or a Lyft.
Oh, right, okay.
So we reduce the whole cost between like $5,000 to $30 to $15.
Yeah.
Good idea. Run. And like this is start expanding like by the states, like over US, and it was quite interesting project. But it also was a quite interesting opportunity for me, like when like I got like this like major like international opportunity to start like leading a company in US, a market that I knew a little bit, but never like in this immersion before.
Yeah.
And it's a completely different culture than Canada, and it was completely different culture from Brazil.
Yeah.
It was a very enriching experience. But as I told you, I'm a very curious person. After that, like I spent 2 years over there, and I got a very good opportunity to go to Germany. Like after Brexit, these amazing things that they did here, like Brexit. And let's not start about like this topic because
like we're an episode in itself.
Yeah, my life is a whole different just because of Brexit right now. But because of that, like many companies that was based in UK, they start open like operations in Germany, in Berlin, because they had like a lot of tax incentives to do that. Like you have like people to people was easier to go over there. So the startup market in Berlin start growing. In Berlin or in Germany in general start growing a lot. And I got a local opportunity like to work with one of the, I think I like to say, revolutionary AI chatbot companies that I'm very happy to say that I helped build, but like just like they are in a completely different like status right now. where we are still like in initial phases, like to looking for investments. And today I saw like a news, like I think like past year they got bought by Zendesk.
Oh, right.
Yes, so like it's like I like to know that to see that I was part of that, but like the kudos is only on them because like I was not there for a while, so many things happened after. But help them like to or know that you're part of this is like very enriching. But like it was my first experience like in Germany.
Cool.
But then right after I got like experience like to start like leading things on Trade Republic, and I had the opportunity also like to found GetLost over there, which was like another major experience, another like grow like working like banks. That is something that I was avoiding a lot after Brazil, working as consultant for such a long time.
Yeah.
So getting the first experience of fintech or like high technology, putting like into banking, like or getting to the banks and like you see like instead of like old platform, like new things we build was very exciting.
Yeah. Right.
And also the mission for the company was very nice. Like it was help democratize wealth for like Europe. That was like it's something that like Europe and US do way more than, for example, than Brazil is doing right now. But I still like new to the market how people can save money and start like putting like your savings with 2% return. So they start like changing like a whole card market to like a way easier way to invest money. Like you were able to open an account from your phone in like 10 minutes and you'll be able to like start investing. And this was 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Today, like everyone's doing that. You know, like they were the first bank that will offer 4% return. And because of that, like all the other banks had like to move themselves and start offering like something like this, like based on the European Central Bank or based on like I don't know, I don't remember the central bank from UK. How is the name?
Bank of England.
Yeah, the Bank of England. Like they have like to offer. But then like we built like some amazing projects over there, focus like in the customer experience, focus on help like the internal tools like to be able internal teams like to grow and to develop everything they have to do it. But then like I had to take like a difficult decision because me and my wife were not living in Berlin anymore. We were living in Hamburg, and I had like to travel a lot like to Berlin like many times a week. Like I was like at least like 2-3 times a month in Berlin for a few days. So and my wife was pregnant at the time, so I had to take a decision like to stay like in Hamburg, working over there. But then I had to like the like opportunity like to be able like to move to UK. So I got like a job here at Plum, which is like also like changing how people work their savings here in UK. And in UK you have like giving them maybe the new legislations that are going to come like over the next year, but like there are many good ways to save money here in UK close to other places of ISA products with your pension. Things that the other countries are not doing, but like this is and I'm saying this about like Trade Republic and about Plum because most people don't realize that probably none of us are gonna retire by the government anymore.
Fortunately not.
Yes, so companies that are help you save the money, save money, or to understand where your money is going, can give you opportunity to take control over the situation.
Yeah.
You know, and then like after Plan, like right now, I'm starting Liberis, so like everything like is very new. I don't know much what I can talk yet, so I will try not talk much about this, but that's my journey so far.
Cool.
This was already like a long part of the episode. I don't know.
No, it's super interesting. I mean, you've yeah, what I love about your story is you've amassed a wealth of experience, not only in different roles, but different companies, different domains, I guess. I know you spent a lot of time in financial services, but obviously different countries as well, right? And I think that, you know, kind of gives you a really broad, you know, skill set and, you know, perspective to bring to technical leadership. So what do you feel, you know, having performed technical roles in different kind of countries, how do you feel that's contributed to you as an individual, and what sort of skills and attributes do you feel your personal career journey has enabled you to bring to, you know, technical leadership?
I think like the most enriching thing of all was the experience with people, the experience to start working with people from different countries, different cultures, different beliefs. Mostly because being from Brazil, in Brazil we know that like we always have a way to fix things. Even like there's no problem without solution. Okay, we're not gonna provide a good solution or a beautiful solution, but we're gonna provide a solution. But I came from this mentality, and I still like try to apply this mentality today. Like I'm problem solver by heart. Like there's no problem without solution. We're gonna figure out. There's no problem. We're gonna figure out things. But I think like the most enriching thing that helped me like see the world with different perspective first was start working with people, different countries, beliefs, religions, like all this kind of diversity of people. Because what I learned most from this scenario is like how the same problem has different ways to solve. And this doesn't come only by the pragmatism of the problem, but like how people, how the culture of these people see the problem and how their culture like put them to solve this problem in different ways.
Yeah.
And then like talking about technical leadership over this is like, it's how you enable these different people, like different ways to solve problem, like to solve the problem that we have in the best way for the moment of the business, for the speed we need. It's always about like leverage good people to do the right things and give them like space to do the things they have to do to achieve what they want to achieve.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, because I think like it's here in England you have a quote like, if your kid is bad in math but good in music, you should hire a music teacher, not a math teacher.
Yeah.
You know, like, so like this is like, it's also about like you find the right people like to complement your team. You don't want like you don't want to leverage mediocrity.
Yeah.
You want to elevate, and elevate comes like with this diversity of like seniority, diversity of roles, diversity of people, because then you have like some North Star.
Yeah.
Like for your teams, like even for yourself, like to grow, to look, and to do different things.
I think it's such a great point, and it's actually only really a concept that I've become quite attuned to over recent months, actually, because in recruitment, you know, there's obviously lots of different facets and parts of the job, but innately, some people's personalities, you know, characteristics, attributes will make them better at certain areas of the job than others. You know, some people are better at client interaction. Some people prefer the, you know, kind of more analytical side of things, you know, following a process. Some people prefer more of the candidate engagement piece. And, you know, the raison d'etre for recruitment managers generally is to try and upskill everybody to the same degree in being able to, you know, win business and find candidates and that kind of thing. And I've realized quite recently that, like you said,
it's killing the business.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's about doubling down on your superpower, right? And I think that's such a powerful way to look at things. And I thought about it the other day, when you think about like a, you know, football team, you could have literally the best football team in the world, right, with the most expensive players, but if you've got the goalie up front and, you know, the striker in goal and so on, and no one's in the right position, they're never going to win any games, right? And
you brought a very good analogy, like about like the football game, because football game is all about strategy. You know, like it's the concept also like team responsibility. Like you are working as a team, but you know what you have to do it. If you like, if you get out of like, if you start like to taking care of like the other people who are responsibility, you know, and now he's doing two jobs, and you're probably going to be mediocre in the one that you have to do it.
Yeah.
So, and there's another thing like talking about football, like there's the communication over. They have to have a clear communication to be able like to have a strategy, like a strategy mind. You have the trust of the people, like working so much together, then that you know that kick the ball here, this person is going to be waiting for that.
Yeah.
If they didn't wait, this is an exception, not like the rule.
Yeah.
You know, like you have also a synergy of the team. Like I think they're putting on football perspective, besides like going one against the other, that's not the case, but like working as a team, it's a very good analogy.
Yeah, I like that. I think we could run with that one. We should trademark it. You heard it here first. Cool. So let's talk a little bit about your journey starting a business, right? Because not many people can claim to have actually founded their own company. And let's talk a little bit about GetLost and what you did there.
Well, GetLost is like I started this with two friends of mine at the time, and the idea was we started like working first as a traveling social media. We saw like we started in the very right time during COVID, when people were not traveling. We decided to create like a traveling social media. But what we understand and what you saw in the market over there is like even people that cannot travel, they are trying to be inspired about travel and what they like to go or the place they have been. But found a company, I think that's like one of the most enriching and most difficult and most ungrateful experience, but good experience at the end. Mostly because me with like I have a technical background and I developed like this business background over time, and like seeing like I think I learned like a lot in my career about how to not do things by seeing like some examples, and like at the same time I have like some inspire people of my career that like I look to that, and like I say, I have like very dear thoughts to these people. But like I think like what you see is like a lot of things on how not to do things and how build things, but also on the founding scenario. I think getting back to being like a technical person as an engineering, it's very common for technical people when they're founding something try to do the prima donna code for things. And I think this was this specific thing was the worst decision that I took, because if you talk about founding a company or like start a company, speed is key, and speed and perfection, they usually don't walk together. This is like get like long time together with there. So I remember until today like how the first idea I create like a whole microservice architecture, like making zero money, having like zero users, and for day one we had like a bill from the cloud provider like being like 300 like pounds. And one time we look at that, it's like, why I'm having like this bill? Like why I didn't go for like a simple array and start expanding as I understand my customers, like understand what they want and understand how this works. And I remember like doing like sitting there and like refactoring the application and putting like this like back to like a monolith, because like we were not big enough, and like checking like how we're gonna host this and like put this live. And I remember like the first month of the bill was went like for 400 like to 50 to 50, which can be still reduced, okay, because like this is like just it was it well could be reduced because we were like very small at the time. So I think like this taught me like most like to understand not only what I have to do, but the moment the company are when you're doing something. And this last one is not something that like taking like only being a founder, but like the company that you're working for, what's their objective at the moment that you are joining there, how fast they want to do that, how much trade-off they are ready to do it to achieve that. Well, how like how fast and how you can achieve the minimum viable product that the company is expecting, or what the thing you are trying to do or to found, to be able to put this fast and to understand first before like starting adding like brilliant things behind. Because I love that I did like a whole microservice architecture, like doing that because I was like having the time of my life, but this was completely useless for the business.
Yeah.
You know? And then like having a business vision today, like like if I would start a business today, I would do that completely different. But like I think then also the learnings, like we saw, like for example, like it's very difficult to compete in social media, because like your competitors are just like the biggest company in the world today. You know, like like the chances like you have that, and then we start like instead of like trying to compete in the social media area, we start like focus on the travel experience to the users, and something that like the company is releasing like over the next weeks, that we still have the social media working over there, but it's the idea of like bringing guidebooks. So mostly like we start working with like Airbnb hosts, like small hotels, like to help like then build a place to centralize information and experience from the guests over there.
Okay.
So this was an idea that we could monetize as well, because now I can charge the hosts like for the guidebook, and for the guest experience I have like also a chance to acquire that customer that come into the platform to try to get experience traveling. You know, this is also like it is a very enriching experience, because also founding a company doesn't mean that like you're going to start with one thing and you're going to finish with the same thing, because like I'm not like very much active anymore in the company. I'm more in the advisor role for the company at this moment that the company is right now. But understand that like when the company stops, like, okay, like this is not the right business for us, we can choose like just like to put this down or let's understand how we can get another thing.
Yeah.
It's about adaptability, like when we found something. Because also, I like to think that the restrictions that we had, like to not have money, not have market, not have like so many users at the time, help us like to adapt ourselves, because is the fight of it's the fight or die scenario. You know, I could choose like just like to let it go, but it's like no, let's like understand this and like let's move like the situation around.
Yeah.
And then like having these restrictions, I like to think that like give the company like another chance to succeed. If it's gonna succeed, I hope yes, because then like very good for me if the company succeed at the end. I think they have like a great opportunity in the market to do that right now. Like the team there is working great to make this happen. Like I saw the product and it's like look amazing. And but like the things like again the thing that start the company is not the thing that finish the company. Like it's same thing happens like when you're working for a company that's growing, like a startup going for a scale up scenario. Depending on the company, the moment they are, like the thing that brought you to that moment is not the thing that's probably going to move you forward.
Yeah.
You know, like this is like it's very important, like because like I've been working like a lot of startups over the past like 15 years, and sometimes you see people working that the mentality is like they get attached like to their code or their small product they did, or like how the things were in the past. And that's if you want to move forward, you should not be looking to the past. You should like learn from the past.
Yeah, totally. It's about embracing, like I say, it's a level of self-awareness, isn't it, to recognize where you are on the journey, and yeah, I guess that there are different roles required, different skill sets required at different stages of maturity at the end of the day.
And there's like this is like also like, and then you have like, if you're talking about like leadership over like founding and startups, if you see like working on the technical side as a CTO, you see that like you have like a major turnover, like usually in startups, that they start like with a CTO that was usually like, if we're founding a company, you found like your friend that's like programming or doing something, now he's a CTO. Okay, this is very common.
Yeah.
And then like over time when the company grows, the company has to change CTOs. Or this person like go to a different position, or this person like decide like to invest in something else, mostly because talking technology and talk business technology are completely different.
Yeah.
You know, when you're on a board meeting, they don't care about how many lines of code or how many architecture you did. They're caring like that the product was delivered, like which like how the technology enable you to get like more customers, to enable more business.
Yeah.
It's not about like lines of code, you know.
Absolutely. It's very rare you find a startup CTO that is then able to build a product from scratch, take it from 0 to 1, and then, you know, actually successfully scale, you know, into that scale up mode. It's totally different.
It's a completely different, like it's like you're like you are training to run like 10K, and now you decide like to run a marathon.
Yeah.
This is like you're not going to be able like to go like from one to the other. It's demand like for training. It demands for you like to prepare yourself for that scenario. The challenges are different. Like the problem that you had like with like 10 people, with 200 people are not the same.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I know like people say like, oh, startups like you move fast because you don't have like many processes, many bureaucracy. There's no way for you to like build like a team like to have like a company with like 200 engineers without having processes.
Of course, absolutely.
You know, like you cannot put everyone in the room together like figure it out.
Yeah.
This is like it doesn't work like this.
No, very true. But I think, you know, it's good to talk about that. And I think, like I said, for a lot of startup companies out there are those big decisions that need to be made, but it's all part and parcel of, you know, the making the business successful, making it, you know, more mature. And yeah, I guess when we talk about challenges, one of the things I always like to ask, you know, guests on the show, because everybody sort of looks at, you know, heads of engineering, CTOs, and, you know, thinks you've kind of been there, done that, got the t-shirt, got all the answers. And you know, what a lot of people don't often see is what has happened to get you to this point, and, you know, some of the trials and tribulations that you might have gone through, you know, personally throughout your career. So what would you say have been some of the biggest challenges that you've faced throughout your career, and how have you overcome them?
Well, I think like the most recent one it's something I didn't know that was a challenge and was a problem until like became too much, which is like you can talk a little bit about like mental health. So coming from like a consulting background, when you have like in Brazil specifically, when like you have not in Brazil, in São Paulo, where you have like a very much workaholic culture, it's very common for you to work like 12 hours, 14 hours a day, you know. And this is very good when you're motivated, like when you want to show things and you're like, but this is also creating like a unfair standards to engineers that usually led to burnout.
Yeah.
Because like now, like this person was great here, and what happens? Like everything was delivered. Like you get tired.
Yeah.
You know. So and also I think it becomes also like there's like a generational mixture versus like this workaholic like scenario that can lead people like to burn out. So like this is the reality in the market today. Like even like working like for big companies, like very challenged, like product driven, like fast paced companies. I think taking care of your mental health is like is one of the first things that you should do it, because the company is not going to do that for you.
No.
You should do that for you. You should raise your hand. You should like put your limits.
Yeah.
You should evaluate if this is for you at the end. Because this is not like this is, you may not getting like the money you expect like sometimes, but you don't understand that you're exchanging for yourself.
Yeah.
At the end, like it's a very complicated like topic, but like getting like, because I'm a person that I had burnouts before, because exactly the reasons that I just like exemplify to you, but also I a person that I also have ADHD, which is one extra challenge, because like this also like this they basically talk to each other, because a person who has ADHD, when you are motivated and you want to do things, like you learn things. I think like I learned things so much fast, like over my life, like languages, programming like French in 6 months, like just because like okay, I had the objective, like I like this, I'm gonna do this. But this is also part of the ADHD scenario. Like you focus on something, like you basically like don't have anything space for anything else in your life. And I feel very sorry for my wife, because she got like me, she got myself like in these scenarios many times.
So a chance to give her a shout out.
Yes. But this is like something that I knew that I had this like for a long time, but I never got this in check. Like many, it's like I'm saying that because like I'm 40 years old right now, and I never like took like I remember being examined when I was a kid, like to talk about this, and then like I lived all my life think like okay, this is a superpower, I can do this, like let's do this, but never like taking like the proper care of. But like it's basically like you give you like a machine gun to a chimpanzee and expect like something good to happen. Like maybe like you hit some targets, but like if you don't know how to control your superpower per se, this became like very dangerous, like to yourself. So, and one thing that I saw is like I sit and like I look at my wife like, yeah, this everything that's happening is too much. It's like we were moving. I was like I knew I had a newborn. I was learning how to be a father, and I was trying to provide it. I had like so many like variables that I saw that this was too much. So I had to stop, like take a step back, and like I started like doing therapy. I started like taking medication, and like I remember, and this is very recent, and I'm very proud and like at the same time a little bit afraid to talk about this, because I remember the first time that I took medication, and I'm the kind of person that I feel that I carry always the weight of the world in my back. This is like I heard this like many times doing like when I did therapy, like when like, and I remember the first time that I took medication was a Thursday. I remember crying on Saturday, not understanding why I carry this all my life, because like it was simply not there anymore, and I was like be able like to have clarity. So I see my experience, and I know that's not only my experience, so specifically in IT, because these are the IT is the perfect stereotype for you to find people like this. People have to sit in the computer, have focus, and like try to do things and achieve things, and you have like tight deadlines. So I think like the major challenge is like learn how to cope with that, and like learning how to focus like in your mental health first, because like no one else will do that for you.
No.
Okay, like if you have like you can have companies like also like many today like here in London and like or in Europe, like they offer like you benefits like for you to have like therapy sessions like BetterHelp or stuff like this. This is not sponsored, by the way. If they want to sponsor, I'll talk to you, right?
Yeah.
But like if you don't know, if you feel like you're passing through that, like try to check, because like at the end of the day, you maybe like just like think that like you should carry all this weight, and you don't have to.
Yeah.
You don't have to. Like life doesn't like life is very difficult. You don't have to make your life more difficult.
Yeah. Yeah. It's such a great point. It does absolutely, deserve to be spoken about in detail. I personally, I know we've spoken about this before, but I personally definitely had burnout in my previous company. Didn't really know it. And I think a lot of people, there isn't that level of probably, is it self-awareness? I don't know, maybe pride, whatever it is, where you think, well,
yes, because you always gonna keep trying, like you are trying, but like so your body say that you cannot do it anymore, and you don't understand why.
Yeah, exactly. And that's it. And most people don't recognize, do they, that they're at that point until it's too late.
And like right now, I'm very happy that you are able to see that, but like it's very difficult to see what you are like in the bottomless pit. Like it's very difficult for you to see that you're in that scenario.
Yeah.
So I say like for like my major tip, like for not only for IT but like for anyone who is like passing the situation for this. My millennial generation, that's like very common for us, like to get to that scenario, because how we treat work. Check. You don't have to be passing to the scenario. Don't do it. It doesn't worth it. Like I hope like if you check it and you have the same experience that I did, like in my Saturday morning, crying, not understand why this happened. Like, but you don't have to wait 40 years like I did.
Yeah, I mean that's a very sobering piece of advice, but I think it's so profoundly, it's moving to hear really that it's like had such a fundamental change, for the positive.
It is, because I'm able to do exactly what I was able to do before. I'm able to focus better. I have less noise.
Yeah.
Because like the things like with ADHDs, like you are the dog with the ball. You are the dog and someone showing a ball to you. You are focused on something, but then someone shows something else, and you lose that focus on those things. Or things that are like you procrastinate a lot. Like some things are not interesting to you, or something's not important to you. You have other problems to deal with those things. So this like it's not only medication. Medication is not a solution for everything. Medication is a way for you to help you. You have like to talk to someone. This is a continuous work. This became part of your life when you get to the scenario. But it allows you to do everything you want to do it, but like without this noise, without this weight, without like this thing that like I cannot explain, that like stay in the back of your head, or like this weight in your back that keeps every day over there.
Yeah.
So like my any advice for like my millennials or anyone that's passing the situation, passing through burnout, the money doesn't worth it. I think the state you are. Okay, I understand you may don't have this option, and I'm very sorry for that scenario. But the money doesn't worth it, like your well-being.
I totally agree. And this comes from somebody that I think a lot of people. I'm not certainly special in this regard. You kind of are shaped by school, society to chase money. And that's
this like as like. I think like the Gen Z is like doing a very different than millennial did, and that's very good, because like they have other problems to figure out. But this was, you said, like it's a generational thing, like how it's a culture, it's how we raise. Like it's always people like saying like, oh, you can never fail. You always have to be a provider, or you always have to do this. You always have a founder. You have like to be the CEO of the company. No, like it's like you have to figure out like for yourself if you want to do that, because
Yeah.
you think like it's easier to get like to a leadership position, like to take more responsibility, take care of millions, to scale up like 300 people.
Yeah.
This comes with a lot of pressure also.
Yeah, totally.
You know?
Totally.
So like it's not for everyone, and it's like it's understandable.
Yeah.
I talk to many people. It's like people are like saying, "Yeah, no, I'm okay where I am."
Mm.
Like because right now, like we had like over I would say like the past like 4 or 5 years, we had like before we had like senior engineers, and I we create staff engineers and senior staff engineers and principal engineers. Like we started like create like levels up, okay, and then like create like a ladder that never ends, like to IT specifically, not IT only, but like I'm giving an example because this is an example that I know at the end. But then like I was talking like to our engineers, like, yeah, you like what's the objectives you want to have? It's like, man, like if I'm doing a good job, like I prefer to stay where I am. I don't want to go up. Like and I admire this answer at the same time, like because it's like my life is like the moment that I am in my life, I think like adding like this extra layer for like this amount of money, maybe for me it doesn't worth it.
Mm.
You know, and because anyway, I was talking already with a very, very good and seasoned senior engineer.
Mm.
Okay. And this is okay at the end, because I do think like if you want to go up, I'm sorry, the sky's the limit, do it. You know? But I do think also like get to the senior level is also a terminal level. I think from junior to senior, you should hustle.
Mm.
You should try to get there, because it's about like getting better. It's about like the experience. It's about like, okay, establish yourself.
Yeah.
But when you're like in the senior level, when you're a good senior level, okay, it's okay. It's a terminal level. It's an amazing level to be already.
Yeah. Check in with yourself. And, you know, I think that's a great point, that so many people blindly chase career progression and assume that they get to that next stage and they're going to be infinitely happier. And I think my best advice, you know, having been in recruitment for 20 years, is always it isn't always the best thing to be promoted, right? It's, you know, counterintuitive, but if that next step is going to impede your quality of life or the way you feel about the job or whatever it may be, it's like don't chase it and don't do it at the end of the day. And I think that kind of comes into, I don't know how you feel about this, but I feel it's kind of really come into focus for me since I've been a dad. You know, and you kind of...
I think we got the same clarity at the same moment then. Like, well, like your daughters are also like very similar to my daughter age, right?
Yeah, well, I've got 2, 8 and 6.
No, they're not. Mine's going to be 2, like 2.
Yours a bit younger, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, it was, I mean, I like to think, you know, I'm not going to be a pushy dad. And, you know, I definitely think there's a huge amount of value in people following, you know, finding their own path, following their own journey in life. But I do think there's 2 bits of advice that I will give my kids when it comes to finding a career. And one is do a job that you would do, that irrespective of whatever you earn, you know, do it even if you weren't being paid the money.
I think there's no bad job if it's honest work.
Yeah. You enjoy it.
Like, I would like to think that like, I know that's a sounded topic, but like at the end of the day, if you do a good job, like money can be a consequence of a good work.
Exactly. Good work. That's it.
I know that's not the reality, because like, major times of reality. I'm from Brazil. Like, it's a people like a place you have like a very different like social classes between like poor, midlife, and high life. Because I see people that work like their whole lives, like 12 hours, and they still like in the same like hole. But like, I like to feel it's the same thing as you. I think it's the same thing as you. Like, what I want to bring to my daughter is like exactly this. Like, there's no bad job. Like, if you're happy doing what you're doing, if you like, it's okay. Like, I want to give. I think like by any parent, you want to give the things you didn't. If you have them, because like a point that I think is like, people sometimes are afraid to be ambitious. Okay. Because they are afraid that ambitious is a bad thing. Ambitious is not a bad thing. Greedy is a bad thing. And be ambitious is like trying to get like better. This is okay.
Yeah.
Okay. As long as you understand what you want to achieve.
Totally.
You know. So like, I want to give to my daughter the opportunity to be ambitious with the things that she likes.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. I don't know if it's going to be IT. I don't know. Like, I don't know how it's going to be the job in the future. Jobs and the whole job market is changing right now. AI, like, and everything that's coming forward. In like, I remember when I started working 20 years ago. I had like, you have 3 jobs in IT. You are a developer. You are the guy who fixes computer for everyone, or you're the guy to take care of the infrastructure. That's it. That was like this was like, I don't know, like 2000.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And then like today you have like we have prompt engineers. You know, like something that didn't exist like 2 years ago.
No.
Because we didn't have like, you don't have like prompt AI.
Mm.
Well, you had, but like not like in this level that we have today.
Yeah.
You know, like the job market evolves with the new tools you have.
Yeah.
If the new capabilities you have, like, and so many things are so easy access than it was before.
Yeah.
And like so much cheaper. Other things got like more difficult. Like it's also about evolving. You know, it's like, again, like it's a living thing there.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? It's like it's evolving so quick. It's almost impossible to be able to guess where we're going to be when our kids enter into the world of work and kind of what the dynamic looks like. But I guess going back to the first point that we made there around, you know, there's no such thing as a bad job. The second piece of advice I would give is just, as long as it solves a problem, whatever you're doing, as long as you enjoy it, number one, but it solves a problem for somebody else. It solves a problem for people.
But then you're talking about like already like a open a business perspective.
Yeah, I mean, it's as long as whatever the job is, like, you know, whether you're opening a business or whether you're working in a company, it's to be, I think, safe and to be fulfilled. You need to be doing something that, you know, you can't just sit on your ass all day because you enjoy it, right? It's got to serve a purpose. It's got to solve a problem for people.
You are right. I get your point. It's like it's also about the feeling that you have, like that you're giving value to something.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
you know,
exactly that. And I guess we spoke a little bit about this before, but, you know, you make a really good point around the speed of which things are moving now, the tools that we have. You know, so many great advantages as a result of that, with, you know, the rise of LLMs and Gen AI and so on and so forth. But it is obviously creating kind of real disruption and waves in the talent landscape, and junior people entering into the world of work now are entering into a fundamentally different place to where you and I were entering into the world of work. So how do you foresee AI, the recent evolution and adoption of AI, how do you see that sort of impacting the talent landscape, and like how companies are choosing to structure teams as a result of these tools?
Well, I would say like AI it should be used as a tool for success, and it's like gonna provide like many changes. Like we had like I think like I think the first thing to understand is like how evolution is exponential. Okay, so between us like getting out of like boats to planes, or to horses to car, and to computers to internet, like to this, it's always exponential. It's gonna always reduce the time. So like we are already like in the fast-paced part of the evolution.
Yeah,
we had like the bubble of the internet, and then you have like the bubble of mobile, where everyone has like everything in your hands.
yeah.
Then you have AI. Everything is coming from AI. You're gonna create the future, but like the next bubbles are gonna start coming faster and faster and faster, because this is part of like the culture. It's exponential. Yeah. You don't take the time that you took to do it anymore, because you have other tools to provide you to do that.
Totally.
But this comes also like the market's changing like so fast, and what I see, and this happens like it's not everywhere, but like most like with startups, like startups, they always want like the super senior amazing guy, and then nobody's interest like in the junior engineers getting the market, or training people to get in the market. But this also is gonna bubble it's gonna explode.
Yeah.
Because if you're not introducing new people in the market, the people that are in the market for a long time and get older, or more, they're gonna stop.
Exactly.
And then what's gonna happen? Who's gonna do the job?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, AI might evolve to do the job. Well, it might. We don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. AI is doing like many good things, but she's doing like so many awful things at the same time. I can give example like people using like AI for programming and for vibe coding. For example, I use AI to help me program some things, and I'm extremely frustrated right now for a code that I wrote like I don't know, 2 weeks ago, that it's taking more time for me to review the code that I wrote, because I don't trust how it was written, because I saw so many hallucinations happening.
Yeah. That's it, isn't it? I mean, even though, like I say, even when we get to that point of it's doing the job to a superior degree to a human, you're still going to need that human validation, right? Otherwise,
because it doesn't have like so many context over, you know, like one thing like and one other thing like people are trying like to make a AI simulate a person. It's completely useless to simulate a person in the end. Like you basically putting the computer to mediocrity, you know, like you level everyone by the middle.
Yeah.
It's like but like I don't know, the things like I think it's one thing that I learned when I was working for ultimate AI, like the company that did the chatbot like in COVID. And I remember until today I was talking to the CTO of the company. It's like, wow, the AI is like how they understand. It's like the AI doesn't understand anything. The AI is like a mathematical formula, so they don't learn how to talk like a different language. They are just like getting like the formula about like how this looks like and try to like to replicate this formula.
Yeah.
You know, and this like I know, and like I said, that like sounds like I was like, but like the point is, over this is like many things are gonna like be so much faster for AI. What's gonna change is how we use AI only today.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like people who are using AI to achieve more, to do more, to be able to do more versus people that's not doing that.
Yeah.
So the market, yes, is changing, but doesn't mean that it doesn't have space. And if these companies don't put space for new people to get into the market,
Yeah.
you're gonna moment like be you're not going to have people to work.
Yeah.
It's like that's the scenario.
It's got to be a conscious decision,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's got to be the short term.
This
Yeah,
happens
taking
most
a
like
backseat.
for startups, and like the risk of like specifically like initial startups, like we know that like most of the companies don't live for 5 years.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Or they get acquired by other companies. Like and then those companies, they are not interested like into form new people because they need like something for yesterday.
Totally.
But
Yeah.
like you have other companies, they are helping like to bring new people to market. They are for like bringing people like from college college and bringing people like to grow over the market.
Yeah.
And many places you have like a lot of like fiscal incentives to do that.
Yeah.
You know, because like in Brazil, like if you have like a, for example, intern, you basically like the government to pay the salary for the intern.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And then like, but like then you have to have the work to train this person and learn about the business. I know that like also the market is unfair. Like you may train this person like for 2-3 years, and like they move like to a different company. But also like it's how much this contribute to your company. You know, like it's also like it's exchange at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, you'd like to think that we'll get to the point where governments do more to incentivize, you know, the welcoming of those people into the workplace. But yeah, it genuinely does keep you awake at night as a parent. I thinking, God, what kind of world are they? Yeah, because it's so.
I'm very don't get me wrong. I'm very worried about the world of tomorrow, mostly because like it never was so unpredictable with like so many different variables at the same time.
Yeah, totally.
As it is right now. It doesn't mean that it's going to be bad. It just means that I don't know.
Yeah.
The not knowing is like what worries me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, better the devil you know than the one you don't, right?
Exactly.
And, yeah. Well, look, Carlos, really enjoyed the chat today. I think you've definitely shared a huge amount of value, and just really enjoyed hearing more about your story and in your experiences, and massively agree with a lot of what you said. I think the key takeaway for me around the just checking in with yourself, the mental health piece, I think is massive, and it's something that everybody, can benefit from. I think, no matter where you are and how you feel at some point throughout your life, I think there's going to be a question to be asked there. And, historically, I think guys, maybe not casting aspersions, but probably guys historically have not been as good at asking that question of themselves. And I think it's great to talk about it and give it airtime.
I think it's also part like of the macho mentality. Like I don't ask for help, I don't cry, and like then I keep like putting like this cancer inside of yourself because this is only growth.
Exactly, and it goes one way, doesn't it? Yeah, it never ends well.
It has to get out in some kind of way.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Exactly, and I
think the new generations doing this better than we were doing.
I agree. Yeah, I think they are. Yeah,
and they are like focused way more like in the if like this worth at my mental health or not of this worth at time. Many people see like Gen Z as like they don't like to work, and that's not the case. They are very hardworking. okay, I see people like the hungriness to like to do change, to hungriness to work. It's just not the way that people are used to. So
It's working smart rather than hard, right?
Yeah, exactly. But like this is like also how you evolve. Like you like again, like what brought you here is not going to move you forward.
Yeah.
You know, like they have like completely different problems. They have like problem to get into the job market right now because like we have like everyone doesn't know what's going to happen if AI is replacing people, is not replacing people, like is doing a good job, is not doing a good job, which like jobs are going to have in the future. They have other problems to figure out, and we had different one. Like my parents like come like from dictatorship in Brazil. Like the warrior was different. Like my father was staying in the company for 35 years, and he stayed for the company for 5 years. My mom had one job her whole life, and she retired. Like and like my father didn't understand like why I'm like moving a company, why I'm moving country. It's like, yeah, I don't live in the same way. Like I didn't have the same fears or the same problems you had.
Yeah.
I'm looking for my own way to do things. The next generation is going to be the same, and it's exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting.
It's reckless and exciting. It was like,
I guess you worry always as a parent, and you want your kid to do better than you. But in the same breath, like you said, we find our own way in the same way they will find their own way, right?
being a parent is never a live fear.
Nah.
Like it's like I don't know how many like some like if a 2 years old who learn how to climb things, I don't know how many heart attacks I have, like almost heart attacks I have every day.
Those two, so they're called the terrible twos for a reason, I think. But look, really, really good to chat with you. I like to end every show with the same question, which you may know by now, but I would love to hear your answer to. Is what would you say has been your one favorite piece of advice that you've received throughout your life? It can be in a career context or a personal context, but just something that's kind of stuck with you for the journey that you would care to pass on to your fellow human.
I think it's gonna sound trivial and but the one that I get, and like it can be used like so many phrases, like don't forget to breathe.
Very important.
It's more important than you think. Like, you know, like people, it's not like a guy. It's sometimes like a deep breath or like in a stressful scenario. It's about like take a step down, take a step back, take a deep breath, analyze and do it, not do it and analyze. It's the moment like that you have like to figure out things.
I think it's a great bit of advice. I mean, obviously, look, I was being facetious, but it's a great bit of advice because it works on multiple levels. But I think fundamentally, it genuinely. I read a study a while ago. It talks about kind of the degree to which your blood chemistry changes just on the inhale to the exhale, and how it's changing literally like every 5 seconds. And
like when you're stressful, like your cortisol levels will go high. Like so, it's not like about like it makes sense. It's like also, as you said, like deep breaths are gonna probably like slow your heart rate. But like it's also like you can take like in the logical step of things. Like, okay, take a step back, check what's happening, understand and take action. Don't get desperate.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's a great piece of advice to end on from a literal perspective, but a figurative one as well. And thank you for coming in and chatting with me. Really enjoyed it. Let's definitely do it again at some point soon. But wish you all the very best with your new role. I think Liberis are getting a fantastic asset joining the team, and I'm confident. I'm sure they will. And confident the engineering function is in very safe hands moving forward. So thanks again, mate, and all the best with the new role.
Thank you so much.